Chapter 3. He adored Turner Classic Movies. TCM allowed him, begged him, to cover the festival for his movie channel when the pictures got bigger. He did it, no questions asked. He started the morning with The Long Trailer, a Lucille Ball movie that he had never seen before, but would soon become one of his favorite films ever made. He was impulsive like that.
This is my first time being here. I cannot believe how incredible this is. I'm so honored, so thank you.
He followed it up with Annie Get Your Gun, preceded by this TCM montage that really set the mood for what was surely going to be an incredible day. This was his festival, and it always would be.
Welcome to day 3 of the TCM Film Festival. This is when the pictures got bigger, and I know this is the first time I'm coming to you, but I'm already halfway through the third day. I've actually already seen 2 films, and hopefully you've just seen a montage of some of the best moments in the morning, because both of these screenings were films I had never seen before, but I am so glad I went to them. In general, I'm trying to avoid movies I haven't seen before. I really want to prioritize my all-time favorites. Both of the remaining 2 films I have today are in my top 25 movies of all time. But I just couldn't pass up these opportunities, these screenings. I just got out of Annie Got Your Gun, which the movie was okay. There was a few scenes that were like horribly racist. Like, I could not believe how offensive they were. And so as a movie, don't love Annie Got Your Gun, but it was a nitrate print, which means it was vibrant, it was colorful, it was something that I have never seen before, a nitrate print, and it's maybe something I'll never see again. I mean, those prints, those screenings are so rare. So I'm glad I got to go to it. And then I started the morning off with The Long Trailer, which is a Lucille Ball movie, and that was fun. That was really good. A great way to start the morning, a comedy, a Lucille Ball comedy, of course. And it was introduced by Kate Micucci, and she actually stayed and watched the movie with us. She stayed afterwards, she talked. I got to talk to her for like 10-15 minutes about different movies and kind of her history as an actress and a musician. So far it's been a day that has been very busy, even if it's been light on the updates. I'm actually kind of running late to North by Northwest, but I wanted to film at least one update, especially because I don't know when I'll be able to film another one. But I'm gonna head to the Chinese theater to get in line for North by Northwest. That's gonna be phenomenal. It's one of my top 25 films of all time, and I just cannot believe I'm gonna see it in the Chinese theater with hundreds of people who enjoy it just as much as me. And then I'm gonna stay in the Chinese theater for the Shawshank Redemption, another one of my all-time favorites, and that's gonna be introduced by Morgan Freeman and Tim Robbins. So another once-in-a-lifetime screening. I need to get a quick lunch. Yesterday I didn't eat lunch or dinner at all. I don't know if you watched my last video on the first 2 days of the festival. If not, go ahead and watch that. But yeah, this is day 3 of a 4-day festival, and it's been such a blast so far. I have had the time of my life, seriously, meeting so many people, so many huge movie buffs, and I'm gonna try and give you updates when I can. It's hard, especially on Hollywood Boulevard, and especially because these screenings are so tight. You're really running from movie to movie to movie, but I made some time now. I'm gonna grab a quick bite to eat at the Hotel Roosevelt poolside lunch. Poolside bar here, and so I'll get a little video of what I got to eat, and then I got to get in line for North by Northwest.
To watch the film, so please give a round of applause to James Duke Mason, the grandson of James Mason. Stand up. You know her work, everything from Private Benjamin to Baby Boom to The Parent Trap to The Bride Part 1 and 2. It's Complicated, The Holiday, Something's Gotta Give, The Intern, so many brilliant films. And she's also an ardent Cary Grant admirer, as we all are. So please welcome Nancy Meyers.
Said when we would ask a lot of questions about his work, and he'd say, I'm always and always have been far more interested in what goes on at the candy counter. And then Gene sort of did a rapid fire with actresses, and if you could just say a little something about each one. And my favorite was when Gene said Ingrid Bergman, he said, oh, Ingrid always smelled great. So when I see them in a movie together, I'm always imagining what the scent is, you know, but he thought he had the best on-screen rapport with Irene Dunn, which I would say he's right about that. Loved Grace Kelly the most. Read the article, you'll see all of that.
Well, I'm sure most of us would have done exactly the same thing with Cary Grant. Put his hands
Let's see a show of hands of how many people would have gone up with it.
It's such a great story. We could nerd out all day about Cary Grant and this movie, but we better get to it. So please thank Nancy Meyers and enjoy the film.
Stuff, and I went to the doctor, and he said, well, not gonna do you any good trying to do surgery. Yeah, we'll just sort of mobilize the foot and it'll go back together as it will. Well, the foot went back together as it will, and now I can't walk on it. Of course, that's really years later. But what a story, huh?
Whole experience. My understanding that there might have been like sawdust, chocolate, some sort of mixture involved, but then some actual toxic water that you had to.
Well, yeah, the thing in the sludge that I was crawling through was a lot safer than the water I fell into. Because the water I fell into we're in farm country, so it was filled with, you know, cow urine and, you know,
Cow stuff.
Yeah. People would stop me on the show. I was living in New York at the time, and people would stop me on the street. A lot of guys, and tell me, you know, like working class dudes who were just out there on the street doing their jobs and stuff, would say how important the film was to them. That was when I started thinking, wow, this movie touched something in people that I guess a lot of movies don't. And so what is it? I'm not sure. Who knows what it is?
How did Andy get that poster back in place after kids?
So easy. This is so easy.
How did he do it?
Pick it up here, pull up here, go underneath, go in.
I'm gonna write that. Of course he knew how to do it.
Okay, I'm back now. End of day 3. I just got home, just past 10, so not super late. The Shawshank Redemption experience was not only my best time in a movie theater, but it might be my best time I've ever had with a movie. I am so excited about what happened in Shawshank. I mean, it was introduced by Morgan Freeman and Tim Robbins. I get the sense, based on what the TCM introduction was saying, that this was the first time they were introducing the film probably ever together. You know, Freeman and Robbins talked about how they got breakfast this morning. They were catching up after 30 years of lost time. I mean, because this is the 30-year anniversary of Shawshank. And the fact that they were there together, that I was so close to them, that I could hear them talk and share these really great stories that I'm hoping to include in the video, some little snippets of, just insane. And the energy in the crowd was phenomenal. I mean, I'm talking about people cheering, people clapping, people crying. You know, I don't want to spoil the Shawshank Redemption, but every single moment that you think there would be an audience reaction, there was an audience reaction equivalent to a sports audience. You know what I mean? This was an insane movie-going experience. I mean, it sounds cliche, like I'm a huge movie fan, right? And so to say that the Shawshank Redemption would be my #1 film of all time is almost like that's way too obvious. You know, I gotta be a little more unique, but I mean, it's gotta be top 5. Like, that is a perfect film. It's man, the script, the acting, the cinematography, the score. Like, I wanted to stay for the Freeman and Robbins introduction and then maybe see something I hadn't seen before, because all I've been seeing are things I've seen. But I couldn't do it. As soon as I heard the Thomas Newman score, like, I was glued to my seat. I didn't get up once. I was addicted to this movie that I've seen 4 times in the last year, you know. But man, like, again, you know, I'm trying to say, was the TCM Film Festival worth it? 3 days in, I'm saying absolutely. If you are a movie fan, this is the film festival to go to. You know, to be completely honest, like, they gave me this opportunity to go for free, and I will say the tickets are extremely expensive. It's $700 on the cheap end to attend this festival. Is it worth that? It's hard for me to recommend anything for $700, and the expensive side of these tickets is $2,100. That's a lot of money for a film festival, especially because all of the movies are classic movies that you've seen probably 10, 15 times. But there's a reason that everybody I've talked to in line has gone to the festival 2, 3, 4, 10 times. It's because, like, seeing these movies in theaters, on film, on nitrate, with cast members, with celebrities who are fans, with an audience full of people, it is unlike anything I've ever done before. It's 3 or 4 of the 5 best movie-going experiences I've ever had. And, like, I'm prioritizing, going into day 4, these singular experiences, right? Like, I'm thinking tomorrow I'm gonna aim for 3 films. The first is Lawrence of Arabia in the Egyptian Theater. Once in a lifetime experience, that one. That will be insane if I go to that. Then The Searchers, a world premiere restoration introduced by Alexander Payne. And then ending the night, tomorrow night, ending the festival with Spaceballs, introduced by Mel Brooks. Okay, so I just got out of Lawrence of Arabia. It was 4 hours, but it flew by. What an insane, amazing 70mm movie. And actually, shockingly enough, Alexander Payne was there. He sat right behind me. We talked during the entire intermission and before the film started and after it ended. And so I thought, you know what? You know, I would love to see The Searchers, but I've seen The Searchers. But anyway, I decided to make a slight change of plans and see The Lavender Hill Mob instead. It's closer to Spaceballs in terms of timing and also in terms of location. And The Lavender Hill Mob is a great movie. I actually watched it for my 1952 Oscars video, which you should definitely check out. And I'm excited. Good, you know, it's one of the small multiplex theaters, which those showings have been more intimate so far, and they tend to be fun in a very different way than these large Chinese theater, Egyptian theater ones. So yeah, I'm gonna go rewatch Lavender Hill Mob.
Illustrator, artist, animator, all-around cool guy. He's worked on films like Toy Story, Robots, and Rise of the Guardians, which is a cult classic that is being discovered. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's really fun. And he's won a slew of awards, including an Oscar, 6 Emmys, and he's the brains behind dozens of books, the kind of books that are fun for all ages, especially if your sense of humor is just a little bit twisted. I can't wait to hear what he's going to say about the Lavender Hill Mob, so please give a big TCM welcome to William Joyce.
Yeah, I can't remember. At any rate,
Okay, I'm back with one final update from the festival proper, but I have my ticket for Spaceballs. I've done Lavender Hill Mob. I've done Lawrence of Arabia. So we've got one final film, one 11th film to close this festival off. I'm not gonna reiterate what I've been saying the last 3 days, but I will say, if I had to give one little critique about the festival, I do think some of these large premiere screenings, these ones in the Chinese theater, you know, the Close Encounters, the Spaceballs, the Shawshank Redemption, North by Northwest, those have been handled a bit messily. I think they maybe underestimated how popular those screenings would be, because, I mean, Shawshank last night was really kind of a mess. I mean, people everywhere in random lines, out of order, you know, it was a bit of a mess. But, you know, I do think these screenings are having near 1,000 people attending every single one, and that's a lot to handle for these larger venues here. So I'm not holding it against TCM too hard. Again, I do want to thank them for giving me this opportunity. I will be a festival patron for life. Next year, I'll bring the other half of this channel with me so we can cover it together. But yeah, I'm gonna give one last little outro probably after Spaceballs, but if not, you know, maybe this is the better way to end it. So if this is the last time I'm speaking to you, I just want to say thank you for watching this video. You probably watched the first 2 days as well, so thank you for watching both videos. And I hope you enjoyed something a little bit different than the video essays that we're known for. We'll be back to the video essays in the next video and the videos following, but I thought this was fun. You know, I would certainly do this for other film festivals. If there's anything you think would be interesting for me to cover in real life, you know, let me know. Like, I can go to a Hollywood cemetery or a filming location. Let me know what you'd be interested in, because I would totally do it. I love this sort of thing, being surrounded by classic Hollywood. I mean, I live near Hollywood, so I might as well take advantage of it, right? And until the next time, I'll see you at the movies.
Now it's time for tonight's movie, Spaceballs, making his 7th appearance in 15 festivals, the writer and director of the film, my friend, ladies and gentlemen, Mel Brooks. So, back before Spaceballs, 13 years before Spaceballs, when you made Blazing Saddles,
I gotta tell you, we showed Blazing Saddles, and the executives, the hierarchy of Warner Brothers came, and the head of Warner Brothers, who shall be nameless, Ted Ashley. Anyway, he gave me so many notes, so many cuts, that if I listened to him studiously, took every single cut and made the cut, I would have had a 10-minute movie. So I used to do,
I couldn't figure out what you were looking for in your pocket, and then of course, it turns out it's Hitler's mustache.
Every time I'm in trouble on stage, I graduated from that stuff. And finally, when I worked in the mountains, I was a busboy, and I worked the sour cream station. There was a very big aluminum, gigantic bowl filled with sour cream. I would get it. I would make my way out to the dining room and put it down. By the time I turned around, I said, no, they love sour cream. He was a great guy, and he loved my movies. He was really a sweetheart. We went to dinner. He said, I want, butterfly shrimp. I remember butterfly. I said, butterfly? I wasn't sure what it was. And then he had I think it was asparagus. Yeah, butterfly shrimp, asparagus, soup, a thick steak, baked potato, filled with sour cream. And he says, George, I guess that was the head waiter. He said, George, I'm still a bit peckish. Would you do it again? And I said, is he crazy? Is he mean? Do it again. He said, am I gonna see soup and salad? Right there, butterfly shrimp, there was a soup, there was a thing. But he didn't have 2 balls of ice cream, which he had originally. But he ate it all, and then he took out the cigar. And I said to myself, he's made some of the greatest movies. He may be the greatest director that ever lived, but nobody could eat like that man.
Which
He's waiting for it. Poor Ben. He's sitting there. He says, I wonder when this guy's going to finish one.
They don't care. Trust me, they don't care. Did you? I don't think I've ever asked you. Did you love Star Wars?
I loved it. I loved the picture. I thought it was unusual. I thought it was an incredibly, original, and it was a combination of all the things I loved, like Ivanhoe when I was a kid, and Robin Hood. And it was kind of like a fairy tale, and yet with zaps, a lot of zaps.
Somewhere in this audience tonight, Mel, I of course I naturally didn't write their names down after I met the woman. There's a woman named, I think, Meryl, and her husband, who I think his name is Chip. But let's just assume that I'm correct. Meryl and Chip.
Meryl and Chip, yeah.
And 37 years ago, they went on their first date. And he took her to the movies. He took her to see a parody of Star Wars called Spaceballs. She thought, this is a strange first date. It doesn't particularly impress me.
It is.
And then Chip, if that's his name, started, as soon as the first joke comes up, laughing hysterically, doubling over in laughter, which alarmed Meryl initially. And then she thought, he is so into this, he is so committed to this, that she began to admire it. Like he is fully, if he sees something that he loves, he fully loves it.
That's beautiful.
And they have been together 37 years and they're here tonight. You became and are the definitive master of big screen parodies, but all of them, every single one of your parodies, comes from your complete, unabashed, unbridled love of movies.
I love movies.
How much these movies, the movies that we show on TCM, the movies that these people in this theater love, they formed your outlook on life. They framed your sense of right and wrong. I know how much you love these movies.
Yes.
And I just want to add how much I'm grateful for everything you've done for me. I love you. And I thank you for showing up here tonight.
I love you. My pleasure.